To be honest with all of you, I never imagined myself in this position, especially not 5 years ago, as during this time I was still in middle school. I was leaving the house before the sun rise and coming after the sunset. And on the weekends, I was packed with Girl Scouts, softball practices, and Saturday school. But then one day, in 7th grade, my school took their annual field trip to a roller skate rink in Dumbo. I was so excited to attend because when you're roller skating, you can see the Manhattan skyline and you're right by the Hudson River. But unfortunately, it didn't end it as I expected, as I was wheeled off by my principal of the school on a wheelchair, bawling my eyes out, my face as red as a tomato, and a bulge the size of a tomato on my right ankle. And that meant I could no longer play softball. But I was able to pull through because I had a community in Girl Scouts and at my school. But then in 8th grade, as you all know, the pandemic hit. And I found myself almost 7 days a week straight for 2 years in my apartment in front of a computer screen. I felt isolated and alone. But then in sophomore year, I was finally released from my jail cell as I was able to go back to school. Mind you, I was in a new school as it was my first year of high school. And I decided not to go back to softball practices because I missed too many already. And Girl Scout took more of a modern approach and had the sessions via Zoom. So I found myself in the afternoons at 3 p.m. watching Judge Judy. And don't get me wrong, I love Judge Judy, but it just didn't feel right. So my mother could see this, and one day during dinner, she told me how she met a girl way before the pandemic started who was coming all the way from Stuyvesant to Degman just to go rowing. And she told me why I don't try out, because they were holding tryouts the following week. And I thought to myself, me, a rower, I could never. The only thing I know about this sport is the fact that it's a water sport. But I just went for it, as I only had to watch Judge Judy that afternoon. I didn't have any plans. So, as I was waiting for Coach Eddie to bring out the erg for me to try it out a little bit, I saw the varsity boys and the varsity girls rolling past me in the Harlem River. And they were moving as fast as a car and with such ease and grace, while being yelled at by a coach. And I told myself, I would like to row with them, like them, one day. And a few days later, I received an email saying I was accepted to the team. I was really excited, and my first few days, I learned the basics about rowing. Difference between starboard and port, how to put oar in your oarlock, etc. But for my first strenuous 2K, I was in a line of ergs with nobody who I knew. And I was pulling a 240, 250. And as you can imagine, everybody around me was finishing before me. But instead of just leaving, instead of getting up to get their stuff to go home, they stood around me, a person who they never knew before, and a person I don't think they even knew my name. But they stood behind me and saying, get sub 250, get sub 240, keep the press, you got this, you can finish. And I did finish. And I was so amazed how people who didn't even know me gave me so much support. And these are the same people for almost 3 years now who I would see next to me during the winter erging sessions in a gymnasium, who I will see when I get up in the morning at 7 a.m. to go to the summer sessions, and who I will wait beside during regattas anxiously for our race time. And I've developed such a trust within these people that I can literally row with my eyes closed with them and have so much faith in them that I can only concentrate on keeping the press and moving the boat and having the oarlocks click in unison. So after being part of Row New York, I found a new sense of community. I now know a community is not only people who are there with you, for you and your highs and your lows, but an extended family, as I've gained so much friendship and I've developed so much trust and bonds within Row New York, my second family, that I can never imagine it being suffered. Thank you so much.